All right, how's it going, fellas?
What is going
Oh,
on?
just amazing.
Max just basking in the Chicago Star Wars celebration.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, I can't wait to talk about that.
Had a good time with all the ladies dressed up as Princess Leia up there.
You could say that. You could say that.
Max wore his Princess Leia bikini, Jabba's palace outfit.
Oh,
Yes, I wanted to
yeah,
do that.
he's Java and everybody else is Princess
Hey,
Leia.
what the hell?
He just took his shirt off and everybody was like, "Oh God!" started running.
I'd rather you guys say that behind my back.
No, we'll say it to your face. It's all good. So yeah, just to start off, I'll just kind of recap. So another episode of Game of Thrones last night. It's Max is gonna watch it, so I'm gonna keep this non-spoiler.
Yeah.
But it's really brewing up to. I think we've got 6.5 hours more of content on it, and like 4 more episodes. It's getting crazy. The first 2 episodes have just been all exposition,
hmm
and I think this past episode was the first Game of Thrones episode ever where no one died. So,
Really?
Spoilers.
yeah.
Wait, is this the third episode?
The one last night was the second one.
Okay, I was about to say.
And the next episode will be the longest and largest battle ever put to screen. It's an hour and 25 minutes straight of battle. They said it like doubles Helm's Deep and Lord of the Rings, and the budget for it was apparently absolutely insane.
No, my buddy texted me and he said that apparently, I don't know, you fact check me on it, I don't know if it's true or not, but he said that it took 55 nights to film or something insane.
Yeah, because I guess so the episode set at night, so they could only film during the night.
Yeah.
In Ireland or wherever they film it. So yeah, it took forever to film, and every single main character is going to be in it besides like a select one or two. So
It's the Infinity War of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
pretty insane.
sounds like it.
I saw a tweet that was like Battle of Winterfell about to make the Battle of Wakanda look like a battle between like two-year-olds or something like that.
Hey, I wouldn't go
Yeah,
that far.
let's see.
It's gonna be nuts. So yeah, I don't know how to talk. So yeah, I would rate the first 2 episodes pretty highly. I know a lot of people haven't liked it because there hasn't been a lot of action, but there's been some great character discussions and character interactions. And you can just tell they're all fucked. Like they're all gonna die. Like some of the conversations are just kind of wrapping the character arcs up. Something major happened last night. Like a character's arc got wrapped up, and you're like, oh, she's dead. But yeah, so we can move on here. So the next item I wanted to talk about was Pitchfork, which I had never really checked out. Max has checked it out. Nolan doesn't really know much.
Give it a brief overview of what it is, because I still don't exactly know.
Basically, it's these seems like wannabe hipsters who rate albums, and they give it like a decimal out of 10 and kind of a brief description of albums. Is kind of what they do. So I was kind of curious. I'm like, wow. So, I wonder what they have. And I just, I always, try to respect people's opinions with music because everyone has their own tastes and everything. But theirs was just so consistently bad. Like their opinion, so I wrote down some of the stuff. So the first thing I read is U2's new album. So the review of it, I'm like reading the review. It's like they really experimented. Bono's voice sounds as good as ever. Like they're older guys who are still doing like young things. And it's like 5.2 out of 10. Like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense. They have Life of Pablo higher than any of Kanye's first 3 albums, which
I
physically can't even comment on. I think Life of Pablo was like an 8.9, and they had College Dropout at like an 8.1, graduation or late registration at like an 8.3, and then graduation at like an 8.1, which Scorpion was like an 8, so I think that's a joke. And then, so yeah, the kicker for me was, so I looked up the reviews of the Killers, and I think even if you don't like the Killers, you have to kind of respect how they're like a good band and everything, and do rock and stuff. And they had like one Killers album over 6, I believe, and they said,
which one was it?
It was their newest one.
Wonderful, Wonderful.
Yeah, Wonderful, Wonderful, I'm pretty sure. And so they said that the Killers proved once again they're nothing more than an average band. And first of all, I'm like, well, they've been around for 14 years since Hot Fuss came out, so I don't think an average band is still headlining festivals after 14 years.
Especially a band that's been through the 2000s, you
Exactly.
know? Like, most 2000s bands don't
They're
last.
gone, yeah.
Yeah.
We're past that.
They've changed their vibe, like, so many different times, and, like, it's still good and everything. So then the review of their first album I read, and I think Hot Fuss is arguably their best album. I mean, it has some classics on it. Change Your Mind, Mr. Brightside, somebody told me.
That's the one with the buildings on the front, right?
Yeah, like there's so many classics on it. And they gave it a score in the 5s. I forget the score, but they said that Brandon Flowers is cocky and thinks he's much better than he really is. And that fucking pissed me off. So Brandon Flowers is literally from like a poor community in Las Vegas. He's supposed to be like the nicest guy ever. He like donates to charity. I don't think anything about him is cocky. It was the dumbest thing I've ever read. And then they called them U2 wannabes, which isn't even a reasonable comparison to me. I'm like, if you want to look at a U2 wannabe, go look at Coldplay, because Coldplay wants to be U2. So
I could.
Didn't you just say that they rated U2's albums low too? So you're saying they want to be a band that you don't like anyway? That's
they want average reviews.
Yeah,
then they would be doing their job then, if that's what they're striving.
And like and this is what I thought, and then I went to like look it up more, and it kind of backed it up. But like the Killers are alternative, and the like U2 has always been rock. Like, so it's not even the same genre. Like, you can't say that's the same genre. And I just, it made me so mad. A couple closing notes. I saw the Blueprint 3 has a 4.5, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, Empire State of Mind, like, all these classics on that one. Rodeo by Travis Scott, which was his debut album, which I think is his best album, has a 6, solid 6. And then Cardi B's fucking album has an 8.7.
Hey, that's a winner of the year. Best rap album.
Yeah, the Grammys mean a lot nowadays.
I think the only one that you would probably agree with, they gave My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy a 10 out of 10, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, which I agree with that. Which I think what they do is they kind of ride with the popularity train. I was talking to one of my friends about it, and I guess they used to like ride Kanye's dick on every single album. And now they're kind of like less off Kanye since the TMZ stuff happened. So I think they're kind of just, well, if we rate the popular albums high, people come and look at us. But
you get lots of views, etc.
Yeah. That's my announcement. I'm never going on Pitchfork again.
I think the first time I ever looked at Pitchfork was when it made a Twitter moment about how they bashed Ed Sheeran's Divide album.
Did they?
It was really bad. Yeah, and that's how I first heard about them. And man, like their Post Malone ratings, like I just think they just have the hottest of hot takes when it comes to
Did they have Post Malone pretty high?
No, low. They had it very low.
Really?
Yeah, I believe. Here, I'll look up.
See what Stoney is, because I love Stoney. I didn't like his second album as much.
I fucking love Stoney.
Stoney's great.
Great album.
I'm pretty sure they're either the polar. Yeah, see, they're either the polar opposite of everybody, or they're exactly with it.
Yeah. If I remember right, Scorpion was a 7.9 or an 8, and there's no way Scorpion was better than Stoney. So, yeah. Ridiculous. So, our podcast does not support Pitchfork. We'll make that fucking
if they ever tried to sponsor us, we'll tell them no.
We'll probably take it, but then we'll bash it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take their money.
Yeah. We'll destroy them from the inside while accepting money.
Yeah, it'll be like that iCarly episode where they get sponsored by those shoes or whatever, and they tell you all the bad things that like you can do with them that are like they say it in a good way though. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so we could be like, oh, Pitchfork. I don't even know. We'd have to think of examples, but we would bash them in a positive way.
In a positive way, yeah.
Like Andy Bernard when he's given who is it, Kevin, tips on how to talk to women, and he's like, you always have to back them afterwards. Like, I like your shoes, but your face could be prettier.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right, so we can now get in after that intro and another roast of Pitchfork to our Star Wars theme.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
3
weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh God, put that away.
Nolan's got a dildo right there.
Yeah, I was about to say, what the
Hey,
hell
geez,
is that?
dude, it's a miniature. Come on, it says fucking Star Wars on it. See that?
It's just a mini lightsaber. What is
Yeah,
that for
dude.
toddlers?
Maybe. Jeez, don't judge me.
God.
So we can just start with the preview. I want to hear Max talk about it first, since he got the live experience, which the videos on Twitter that were released, the people who recorded it there were so cool. So
Okay.
you just want to go over your first thoughts when you saw the preview in Chicago. So Max went to Chicago Celebration.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
It was expensive, but I went. And I don't really regret it, but my wallet does. So it's funny. I haven't really discussed the trailer too much with people. I mean, I just tell them, yeah, I saw it, but like, here's the thing. It's somewhat of a mixed bag for me. I'm excited. I think it's a good trailer, but there are things about it that worry me. It's more of a worrisome kind of feeling than I am like it's negative.
Mm-hmm.
But like, as much as I love the Rey doing a backflip, getting ready to, crush a silencer or whatever they call them, it's like a TIE fighter silencer, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
That is so Fast and Furious and not Star Wars. Like, that to me is like, it's cool, but that doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
That was when I first I was like, oh my God. But when you kind of ponder on it, you go, ooh, okay.
That scene to me stuck out, because to me, I'm like, where would this go in a narrative? So to me, it kind of seems like it would be like almost like stock footage that they kind of just filmed for the trailer.
Yeah.
She almost looked like she was on Jakku, and I don't know why she would be going back there. And also, it looked like Kylo Ren in the TIE fighter with the gloves and everything. And I'm like, this just Kylo Ren's flying his TIE fighter on land, like almost like running Rey down in it. Like, that's his plan, to kill Rey, run her over with a TIE fighter.
Yeah, they didn't even shoot at her. I mean,
yeah. So that to me kind of seemed like something JJ might have just filmed for the trailer. I don't know.
Maybe.
Can you guys see that being because I just don't see how that fits into a
kind of guy that would do that.
I can't even. Yeah. To be honest with you, I can't even see J.J. Abrams even filming that. Like, it seems like who's the director of the Fast Five? It's
I stay away from those as much as I can.
Yeah,
they're not bad. No, not Ang Lee. Justin Lin. It seems like a Justin Lin shot, like doing a backflip with a lightsaber. Mm-hmm. It really is, and it's kind of like, okay,
imagine
it's cool,
if the TIE fighter just started transforming.
Oh my God, yeah. At that point, I wouldn't be surprised with what I saw, but that would be a cool crossover, though. It wouldn't make sense, but it'd be cool. Palpatine's back.
Yeah,
I guess.
Lando's back.
Here's my problem. Here's my main problem I'm getting into, and I'm sure we're gonna get into it later. I love The Last Jedi. I love what it did, and it seems like it's a total reversal of all of that, because it's like, I saw some tweets on Twitter saying, Last Jedi is all about forgetting the past, and this one's literally like digging up the past and going more into that. And it feels like they're like, see, I can't even imagine being in the board meeting the weekend after The Last Jedi released, when all the backlash happened, and then they're like shitting their pants like, we gave Rian Johnson a trilogy, and we got one more to go. What the hell are we gonna do? Yeah. And it seems like they just were like, okay, we just got to do the complete opposite, and we got to bring everybody back. But to be fair, if this really is the end of the Skywalker saga, you kind of maybe want to go back into all of it, tie every knot, even the knots that seemed like they were tied enough to begin with. You want to make it call back to as much as possible. So I guess I kind of understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But it almost feels like cheap to me.
I get what you're saying. But I do think, like you said, like, it's the end of the saga. Like, part of it does have to be kind of fanfare, fan service type story. It's just a matter of if they can do that where it makes sense.
Because the way that it looks is almost like it's like they didn't know that what exactly they were going to. They didn't have the 3-movie plan laid out. Like, this is going to happen this one, this is going to happen this one, this is going to happen this one.
There's
it was like The
absolutely
Force
no
Awakens
way.
happens, and then everybody shit on it. Then they did something different, then everybody shit on it, and now they're like, oh fuck.
I'm pretty sure that there was literally zero plan after The Force Awakens.
Oh,
like, it was literally just like, you do whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there was no.
That's what I was
when they saw everybody saying that it was like, oh, it's just a new hope, and then they were like, well, let's do something completely different. And then when they did something completely different, and everybody said, oh, fuck that, they were like, well,
that's
we're
the thing,
true.
you just can't please them all. Like Star Wars, as much as like, I hate to say it, it can be a very toxic fan base, because it literally there's no pleasing anybody. Either you pick one side or the other. There's no one whole, like, there is a middle ground. You will find a middle ground that's like, okay, yeah, I can see why you didn't like it. But the ones that are the loudest are the people that love and they hate it.
Yeah.
So you just got to pick one or the other. You have
Let's
to
be honest. We're talking about a fan base that like bullied an 8-year-old. What is it? Jake Lloyd, the kid who played.
Yeah, like that's the thing.
That's crazy.
This is what they're like.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. What I was gonna say, like, I don't think J.J. Abrams had any idea that Palpatine was gonna be in the 3rd movie when he was filming Force Awakens. Like, there's no way.
That seems like a board meeting, like, we gotta. How can we bring Palpatine back? JJ's like.
So
I mean, I don't know.
Do I have a choice?
So
exactly.
What was the Were people talking like what they thought story-wise at Celebration, Max? Like, were people making predictions, or were you getting a vibe at all?
There was this group on the Star Wars live show that were breaking down the trailer and just kind of picking what. I think it rejuvenated the discussion of if Rey's going to be a Skywalker or not.
Definitely.
Because to me, the last you think so. We can go into that in a little bit too.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's gonna be, but I think it definitely rejuvenated the talk.
Big time, because it seemed like The Last Jedi was like, no, she's nobody. Quit asking, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, and now that you have the title The Rise of Skywalker, and bringing Palpatine back and doing callbacks, I could see them totally doing a 180.
Here's my thing is, I think without a doubt so if you look at this as like Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, like, it's going to be a great movie. I really think, without a doubt. But then you got to look at it as like the sequel trilogy. And like, if you watch The Last Jedi and this back to back, are they going to flow well together? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you watch The Last Jedi and you hear all this stuff like, Rey, you're nobody, Snoke's dead, all this, and then you watch, Rise of Skywalker, and everything, like, the tone's different, everything's different. It's going to feel really weird. So I just think that's J.J. Abrams' biggest, struggle there, is to maintain like a trilogy vibe throughout all 3.
Because it's really, whose story is it at the end of the day? Because it became this thing where, like Max said, they turned 180 after The Force Awakens, and now they're trying to. It feels like, I don't know, they're trying to turn around again.
And I think the best.
Do either of you guys remember why J.J. Abrams didn't do the second one?
I don't.
Like a personal choice?
I think I heard that he read the script and he was like, "Damn, I wish I was directing that," but he could have just been saying that just to hype people up. But I don't think he planned on doing any more. I don't even think he really even wanted to do the 3rd one. To be honest with you, I really wish JJ even wasn't really doing it. I wish they would have picked somebody else. Like I said, I don't think I've said it on the podcast. I think I did, actually. Jon Favreau, I honestly think he should have his own Star Wars movie instead of The Mandalorian. He would have been my choice. But see, to me, JJ comes across, especially after Star Trek 2 in Darkness and then The Force Awakens, he's just too safe when it comes to this stuff story-wise. Star Trek Into Darkness is literally just the Wrath of Khan. It's literally beat for beat the same thing with a minor change. And then you have The Force Awakens, which literally reads like, I hate to be this guy that calls it out, but it was disappointing because it was literally just beat for beat A New Hope. And if you've seen A New Hope, you know exactly where it's pretty much going to head. And that's why I love The Last Jedi so much, which I'll kind of cut it off short because we'll talk about that later. But it was just so different, and I really appreciated the risks it took. But and then when you see this trailer and JJ's back, it literally, all of my worries were kind of proven true, kind of. I mean, granted, we haven't seen the movie yet, but from this trailer, it's like, well, they did exactly what I thought they would probably do.
Yeah. And I do think, say what you want about, you know, the movie and stuff, but the man knows how to make a trailer. Like the trailer is pretty awesome. One of my main complaints, like, I hate to be this guy, but like, I don't know how they're going to use Leia, because he said they're using footage that they shot during Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to change the background. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how does that?
That's what I would assume they would be doing.
Yeah. So, you know, that's going to be cool to see Leia. And obviously she's an iconic character, so you can't just write her off like between movies, but it's a tough situation there.
Yeah.
Because originally they said like this was supposed to be her movie, because like the first one was Han's, the second one was Luke's, and the third one was supposed to be Leia's.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, like each one of them gets their send off, and you know, that completely got changed, or I mean, we don't know. Maybe they're gonna figure out a way to prevalently use her in this one, but I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So you guys want to talk about, where do you think they could go with the story in this one, like prediction wise?
It's kind of hard to say, to be honest.
The Last Jedi honestly felt like it could have been the last movie, because it was just like, it almost felt like they were closing everything off except for just leaving the characters in such a like, The Last Jedi did a good job of leaving the characters in like an iffy situation, like, okay, like now what? I mean, they've got like practically nobody
for like 30 years, like how Return of the Jedi was, where they kind of won and then kind of were like, let's go big, or like rebuild everything in a sense. But
yeah, they're just literally gonna have to rebuild from scrap. They have literally nobody. They have like a handful of people on the Millennium Falcon, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd be interested to see. Honestly, I think, and I'll walk out of the theater, so God help me they do this. If they do this Rey and Kylo Ren relationship, I
don't want to see that.
I'll just walk out. I don't want to see that. I hope they don't do that. It seems like that's what some of the fans want. Reylo, please don't do
like
that.
He killed Han. I think they want us to just he killed Han. Like that's, you know.
Yeah. Oh, we forgive you. I think The Last Jedi set it up in a good point where it's like, you know, he is the villain. There's no real turning him. There's no light left in him.
Yeah.
And you totally rejected that. When you think, you know, when he turns on Snoke, you think, okay, maybe he's got a chance. But no, he did it literally to better himself in the First Order. So it's
like they set him up to be the main villain, and now Palpatine's back. So it's kind of my prediction is, I think they're gonna find some MacGuffin, some device where they can track down force sensitive people. And I think they're gonna see this big force reading or whatever, and it's gonna be the Emperor, and they're gonna go and he's gonna fuck them up, and they're gonna have to leave and go recruit Kylo and be like, hey, we need you. And I think it's gonna end somehow with Kylo and Rey both sacrificing themselves to balance the force. Somehow.
Oh, you think Rey's gonna die?
But...
Yeah, dude, I could see them both dying. Because if they survive, people are gonna want sequels, and they're done. Like, how do you make more Star Wars movies after this if Rey's still alive and she's just not in them? If she's like this chosen Jedi, you know?
Well,
so it's like she's either gonna die or like go into like a Force ghost. I don't know.
It's such a hard conversation to have too, because like we've said already, I'm at the point where I just don't even know anymore. Like, it doesn't feel like they're in control. They don't I feel like they don't even know what they want to do. Like they're just throwing shit on the fucking screen right now. It's just, do that. I don't even know where I would say I think it's headed. I couldn't tell you what I definitively think. It's so all over the place, because like we all said, The Force Awakens plays it safe. The Last Jedi is something completely different. So with JJ back, maybe this plays it safe, but I don't see how they can play it safe in the last movie of this trilogy if you're really trying to wrap it up. But I don't think that JJ's the guy to like do what the stuff that you're saying seems really risky. So I just don't know anymore.
So I read this fan theory. I don't know if you guys have seen this. So the title is like The Rise of Skywalker, which, sparked all the debate about Rey being a Skywalker and everything. And this guy's theory was that Skywalker isn't a person. Skywalker is the new Jedi or Sith, where if you're a Skywalker, you're a gray Jedi and you work somewhere in between. And like the Skywalkers will be who Rey recruits to balance the Force, is what I saw. Like Skywalker becomes not a name, but almost like a division or
like a group of people. Yeah.
So
I mean, that could be so it's like the first order, but
they could kind of work that out where Rey is like a Skywalker, but she's not Luke's daughter. You know what I mean?
That would be kind of
runs this organization called Skywalker or something.
I don't want to say I hate that, but I say I hope they don't do that, because that's like, that sounds so fan theory-ish. Like that's my problem with this new series. Really, it's like it literally just reads off as, it doesn't feel like an official Star Wars movie as much as the other 6 do.
Mm-hmm.
These new ones, they just feel so like fan. It's like they, I think there's like a website where people submit like their fan-made scripts and stuff like that. It literally feels like just these big budget versions of that. And these new ones, they don't feel like they have that, feel of the officialness of the other movies. And that sounds like such a fan theory that I don't think they would do that. But I've heard of the Gray Jedi, and I remember it being possibly brought up for The Last Jedi, where that's what Luke was possibly like find like an in between of both dark and light.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So I'm just gonna hope that the same thing happens here.
Well, because the whole thing is like, if you want to end the Jedi, you have to like figure out a way to balance the Force.
Exactly.
Yeah. Balance you. So I mean, you can't end the saga without balancing the Force, right? Like something's gonna have to happen there.
Rey and Kylo will make a baby, and it'll
be horrible.
They'll name it Gray, as if it's not apparent enough.
Gray Skywalker.
It will not have a gender.
No. It will not have a gender. It will be as balanced as possible.
Oh my god.
It will weigh exactly 50 pounds.
Chewbacca will be the Godfather.
Yeah.
So Rise of Skywalker. There's going to be more and more that's released about it.
Yeah, we'll see.
As we go on. I mean, it's only speculation at this point. We really have no idea. I mean, not that this is going to happen, but the Emperor might not even be in it. Like,
there's really not even that much in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know.
I did notice that at the end, when they're at those ruins, that's the Death Star, like in an ocean.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that the first time I watched it. Yeah. Which that's kind of cool. But yeah, so Max, if
Endor looks different if that's where they're on. I'm assuming it would be Endor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess it was outside of Endor. Endor went from trees to oceans.
Yeah, I guess.
It's got to be different. Yeah. But yeah, so Max, if you want to talk about Celebration now a little bit, some of the stuff you really liked or disliked, or
God, where to even begin? So like, we accidentally snuck in through the VIP entrance, like the early access entrance, because they had will call tickets. My friend picked up his will call tickets, and then through the entrance where the VIPs go in, and I was like, oh, I'm just waiting with my friend. They're like, oh, just tell him you're going to will call and then come back out. So we go in through there, he gets his tickets, and we ask the person at the desk, so where do we go? And they're like, oh, just go up the escalator. We went up the escalator and waited with like 30 other people that were all these VIPs. And we just sat and waited. We thought it started at 6, but it started at 10. So we sat and waited for hours. Didn't get in. And so then they let in all the general public, which should have been us, but they let them all in. And some flooded to the exhibit line where the main show floor is, and then some just ran to the store. I've never seen people hustle and run just to get in line to buy things. And I understand that there are some exclusives in there, but there are some exclusives that just, you look like you would buy at the dollar store.
Really?
But the fact that they slap on the Star Wars, it's an exclusive thing, people will just go nuts over it. People, I mean, the excitement was there when we got on the floor. I mean, people were running just to get in line for the Star Wars live show.
Oh God, they're gonna Mufasa me.
Sorry. Because we didn't get into the panel, and that kind of bummed me out, to be honest with you, because like that was one of the main things I wanted to go, is to get into the episode 9 panel, see all the cast, watch the trailer with everybody. So I guess going to the Star Wars live show is kind of like an okay secondary thing to do. Then the trailer released, and that kind of got me like in the mood of excitement and all that. And I was talking to my friend, and he's like, yeah, so like they had a surprise guest last year come on stage. It was Hayden Christensen. I was like, I mean, that'd be cool, but like Hayden Christensen's not a good actor, and that wouldn't be like exciting to me at all if he was like the only kind of like star to come on stage. And I'm sure some people would lose their minds because some people love those movies. But then all the celebrities started on stage, and literally damn near every single cast member came out on stage. I couldn't believe it.
That's cool.
The first one to come out was Kathleen Kennedy and Daisy Ridley. Because we were by the teleprompters, and they were like, someone was turning around to look and see who was going to come on. They go, "Oh, Daisy Ridley," and I went, "What?" And I said, "Clear path." And then I like started to kind of push up a little closer. She came out on stage, and just they all started coming on stage. JJ, Kelly Marie Tran, John Boyega, just Oscar Isaac, all of them. And then we found the spot where all of them, they were walking in and out. I got a couple of pictures with some of them. John Boyega, oh my God, that was a disaster to get a picture with. I mean, people were nuts. But it was fun in some parts. Friday it was overwhelming because it was just like the big day. And then Saturday kind of felt like it took a major halt in like excitement because there was not really a whole lot going on that day. And they do that to kind of spread things out, so people don't just buy Friday and Saturday and then skip Sunday and Monday and blah, blah, blah. But the exhibit floor was pretty cool. They had some cool stuff there. But honestly, some of the vendors there are kind of disappointing. They had a Goodwill vendor there that just, they sell this stuff at Goodwill for like 99 cents. And then they just bring it to Star Wars Celebration, jack up the prices by 50% and sell it to people, and people buy it. It's crazy. Ridiculous, but I mean, I don't blame them for doing it. But some of the exhibits was kind of lame. But the store, we finally got into the store. It took 45 minutes to get in, and there was just nothing there that was like cool at all.
Yeah.
That was even worth buying. And I was like, I was ready to spend on something cool, but I didn't see anything. I honestly didn't buy a single souvenir or gift or anything because I didn't think anything they were selling was cool at all. But Friday was definitely amazing. Saturday was kind of but I wish I could have been there Sunday for Mandalorian. But apparently they only showed people who entered the panels the trailer. Like I don't think people.
Yeah.
I don't know if the people on the Star Wars live show got to see it or not, but man, I would have been pissed.
It was just in the room.
See, I would have been pissed if they did that. Because this is the first year that they even introduced the panel lotteries where you have to like enter in to win days before, and then you literally get an email saying, "Oh, you didn't make it," or "You're in." Yeah. But yeah, and then like all the celebrity guests for photo ops and autographs weren't that exciting. Like we almost did one for Paul Bettany, but it wasn't even just going to be for Star Wars. We just wanted it because it was Vision. Like,
yeah.
We almost did Billy D. Williams too, but they jack up the prices and taxes like by like $30+, and it's just look. You really have to save up for this thing. If you want to go, you have to save, or you're just screwed. But honestly, I think the most important part I kind of learned about all of it, and easily probably the most valuable thing, was ironically the free thing. These people, I mean, let's face it, like Star Wars, it's just not a movie anymore to people. It's literally just a universe where people come together to be excited or not excited, depending on which movies you talk about. There was a panel for Sisters of the Force where they talked about like all these Star Wars related stories, and it got like kind of emotional. It was pretty cool to see though that you have all these people on all sides of the spectrum of life just come together for one thing, and that's just their excitement, and like everybody's super cool with each other, and it's pretty cool. I honestly think the people probably made it the most memorable and exciting part rather than the setup itself of the actual celebration. Because I mean, some of these fans, they just absolutely go nuts when it comes to cosplaying and being with each other, trading, selling, I don't know, 2-cent pins or whatever they are. I don't even care to collect any of those things, but some people just went nuts for them. But honestly, I think the people were easily the best part, because I mean, there was just this one guy who just spouted off for 30 minutes why he just loved Star Wars to us while we were just waiting, and we just listened to it, and he was just like so passionate about it, and we were just like, oh, that's cool, cool, cool. And he just went on and on and on, but it meant a lot to him. So, and then everybody that was there felt that same way. So it was pretty cool to share that with everybody.
Cool environment.
It was a very cool environment, yeah. And a very expensive one.
Yeah.
For sure.
So would you go back?
Oh, yeah, but I would not buy a 5-day pass. See, I bought the 5-day pass and only used 2 of the days. I would just go on the days like Friday or the next day where they announce like another big panel. Like, honestly, if I had to go back, I wouldn't have done Saturday. I would have done Friday and Sunday if I had to pick
Saturday 2 days. The Jedi game? Is that what
we could talk. Did you watch that trailer?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So I was actually very let down by the trailer.
What is it? Because I haven't seen it.
Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. It's basically what a Jedi who gets away from Order 66 and kind of tries to blend into society and looks like
it's a cool premise.
Trying to track him down. Yeah, it's got a cool storyline for sure. As soon as I'm like, these look like 2007 graphics. Like the graphics looked really bad on it. And then a couple of the scenes stuck out to me. Like the gameplay just looked weird. In the scene where he ran on the wall, it looked so non-realistic. Like obviously it's not going to look realistic when someone's running on a wall. But Battlefront was horrible, but the Battlefront graphics were 15 times better. And I was like, okay, this is going to be awesome. This is going to, be so much better in Battlefront. But as soon as I watched it, I'm like, EA is messing these games up.
Yeah, from my understanding, the people that they're making it with are the people that made Titanfall, where you wall run a lot, and that's like their thing that they do. That's their trademark, I guess. But that's my problem with mixing cinematic shots with gameplay shots, because you can just tell which ones are which. And to me, I'm not looking forward to this in the slightest. I think it's an okay trailer, but it's like this is the 3rd time in a row they're gonna just fuck Star Wars fans. Like, it's EA. Nothing they ever do is good or beneficial for the fans. Yeah, they do it just for themselves. They were voted like the worst company of all time. Yeah. I know they said no microtransactions this time around and blah blah blah, but that doesn't mean so what? You're taking your game from terrible to bad. Like, it's not making it
a lot better. What I was hoping for, those are terrible. What I was hoping for was just finally an open world Star Wars game besides the Old Republic.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Give me a Fallout or Skyrim type Star Wars game, and
that would be really awesome.
Perfect. And it looks so story driven and it looks like
I think there's only a story.
Yeah, it's just a story. And it looks like one of those games where there's not going to be a lot of possible outcomes. Just you beat the level, you go to the next level. That's kind of what it looks like.
And it looks like it's going to be a one where you watch a lot rather than play.
Yes.
That's what games have been like recently. They're just,
it's
movies where you push the button to get to the next scene. It's like you have your TV remote, and how you scene selection. It's like that's the game. It's just you hit the next scene. That's pretty much
Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
Yes, it's probably what it's going to be like.
But I'd recommend watching it, Nolan. Only thing, so the main character in it is the kid from Shameless. If you watch Shameless,
I do not.
Oh, that's who that is. Really?
Yeah, and they used his likeness and everything for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be cool. But then, gosh, the graphics were so bad. I'm like, if you're using someone's likeness, that's pretty easy. Call of Duty did that in 2014 with Kevin Spacey, and it looked just but this looked even worse. Did you notice that at all, Max? For some reason, the bad graphics just stuck out to me. I'm not usually a stickler for graphics, but that's something that stuck out to me immediately when watching it.
The graphics didn't really stand out to me as being bad. I mean, they didn't I'm trying to think. It didn't do like a Red Dead Redemption 2 thing for me where you go, oh my God, like this is beautiful, you know?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in a way can be a disappointing thing because, you
Mhm.
know, with the way video games are now, it's like the graphics are
Yeah.
like the main, to me and to most people, it's like the graphics are like the main thing you look for. But this time around with this game, it just kind of looked like it was just, it's almost expected at this point, honestly. Like you just expect great graphics, but it wasn't anything mind-blowing, especially
Mhm.
for something that's story-driven only. You think that the cinematic stuff I thought looked good, but like I said, you can tell when it goes from like the gameplay to the cinematic. So
Yeah.
I think the cinematic stuff it looks like Titanfall. It just looks like
Yeah.
Titanfall.
Yeah, which I mean, I'll still give it a chance. I'm sure I'll still buy it. So we'll
I'll
just have to
Redbox
see
it.
how it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely for
Yeah.
a day or two, and
I
then
did
put that
see
shit back.
something that said, I think this is like EA's last game on their contract with
Thank
Really?
God.
Star Wars
Yeah,
or
we'll
Disney.
see
Thank
what
God.
happens
It
after
needs to
that.
change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently this is kind of a make or break, but I'm like, gosh, even if this game's amazing, still.
I mean, they probably don't care anymore, EA. If they know it's gonna be
Yeah.
the last one anyway, just throw the name on there,
They're
make
probably
money.
like, thank God themselves. They're like,
Yeah.
we're tired of getting
Yeah.
bashed. We
We
got
don't
to
have
make
to make
another
this shit
thing.
anymore.
We don't want to
We can
make any
stop.
more.
They're sticking to Madden.
Yeah.
They were like, we
seriously.
quit 3 times ago, and you guys keep making us do this shit.
All right, so let's move on now. So let's go ahead and talk about the Star Wars movies. Talk about them in chronological order in the Star Wars universe. So let's just start off. I just watched this for the first time in about a year last week with Phantom Menace. First thoughts for me. Jake Lloyd's bad as Anakin, like pretty bad, but that's not what ruins the movie. And
No.
I was watching it and I'm like, gosh, this is so close to being like a pretty good movie. But like
Really?
I think so. I was really trying to watch it and look for the good things, but every time it's close to being good, George Lucas just comes in with Jar Jar Binks or some stupid quip that's so out of like context. So a scene that stuck out to me. So Qui-Gon and Anakin's mom are talking. They're talking about like Anakin being a slave and like how he's always been a gifted child. And it's kind of like an emotional scene where you're kind of getting to know Anakin's backstory and everything. And Anakin's sitting right there and gets like bullied by these kids and like you feel bad for him. And then like Jar Jar Binks sticks his tongue into Anakin's pod. And it's like, I think George Lucas was watching it and was like, gosh, like this is hilarious. Like he probably thought he was making comedy. Like I'm sure he thought it was hilarious. And to me, I'm like, you have the pod racer scene, you have the duel at the end, the space scene is, you know, pretty solid. But it's not a good movie. Like it's not.
There's a few scenes that can stick out as like just above, like just okay. Like
Yeah.
I can watch this and not hate my life. But
Yeah.
I remember there was a time where me and Max tried to do a movie commentary on the Phantom Menace, and we made it through like 25 minutes and paused it. And it's just so boring. Like it's so hard to sit there and watch it. And like even just us talk, like I could talk to Max all day, but fuck me, when I'm watching this movie, I was bored out of my mind.
Yeah,
that's my biggest issue with it. It's just so boring.
Yeah, it drags.
It drags the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it does.
George Lucas's thing was like, hey, look, guys, you know, you can enjoy Star Wars, but Star Wars is for kids. What kid is going to want to sit there and talk about trade discussions?
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I don't think the Jar Jar stuff is as bad as it should be or is, honestly. I think it's just when the movie's just so dry, bland, and boring.
That's what sticks out.
When you get this stuff that comes up, it's like it almost feels too much. Like because it doesn't like really feel like it fits in with like the tone and like the feel of the movie. So when you have Jar Jar, Misa, or whatever, when you have like trade discussion, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, honestly, if you wanted to go full Jar Jar-ish, just do it. Don't, you know, And this is a movie that people waited in line for hours to go see. Like early in the morning, midnight premiere.
Signed up for movies just to see the preview.
Yeah, and then they fell
what's
asleep.
the YouTube video out there of all the people that are walking out? Everybody's like, it's great, it's great, it's great. And then there's some guy that goes, it fucking sucks.
This one he puts his thumb down. But that'll happen when you get caught in the hype. I mean, is it a total failure? No. The score is, John Williams goes
Duel of the Fates.
Yeah. Duel of the Fates is just
great
incredible.
Hype song.
And I do like the last scene. I thought it's entertaining. Like it's more entertaining than the rest of the movie, I guess. So
yeah.
And there's an interesting point someone made where Darth Maul probably wouldn't be as cool of a character if George Lucas gave him more lines. The fact that he has so little lines,
that works.
Like tinkered with them the least, is probably why he's so
didn't
cool.
Fuck that character up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I should say. So I said I think it's close to being a good movie. I still think the storyline and the writing's very poor. But I was watching it and I'm like, damn, this movie came out in 1999 and the CGI still somewhat holds up in it. Which is
bad, but I mean
1999.
It's like, I mean, I can see where
it's pretty good.
There's some IMDb trivia fact that says there's only one shot in that movie where there's not CGI.
Really?
The entire movie.
Shot it is?
It's at the beginning, I believe.
Fade in from black.
Probably. I think it's when the door opens when they both turn. when the
they used an actual door.
When the door, no, I don't think it's the shot after the door opens. The door opens is probably CGI. I think the door opens and then the camera just shows like a room and it's just Qui-Gon. But I think that's the only thing that's not CGI, and I think that everything else is. There's something in every shot.
I just laugh so hard, and I'm just laughing just thinking about it. The scene where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan just run out of nowhere away from what are the rolling droids? What are they called?
The droidicas, like the
when they just dart out of nowhere. It's like, where did that come from?
Because they were super fast, and George Lucas had never commented on that ability
I just think
before.
There's a video of him coming out where he's like, after he wrote the script, he's like, yeah, there's a lot of cop-outs, a lot of they fights. I think he just kept writing himself into situations where he's like, then they run away. It's just weird. He keeps making weird decisions because he keeps writing himself into places where he shouldn't be.
Yeah. Also, I always say Obi-Wan is my favorite part of the prequels, and I never noticed how little Obi-Wan is in Phantom Menace. He's really not in it.
It's very small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very
it's
small.
A small role.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to end Phantom Menace, can we all agree it's the worst Star Wars movie?
I used to believe that.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll talk about this next one.
Yeah.
All right, Attack of the Clones.
This one is by far the most bafflingly bad one. Because you get Hayden Christensen in it now. And, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Hayden Christensen. The man's not an actor. He's just not. He can't act his way out of a paper bag. This one has the worst lines. The final battle between Count Dooku and even the final battle when they're in the arena escaping and it looks just terrible. Obi-Wan drop kicks Jango Fett in the sky. It's so bad. There's so many bad things in it. I hate this one. This one's easily the worst one.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because to me, when I watch The Phantom Menace, there's parts where it's almost so funny that it's tolerable to watch. And there, like I said, there are some scenes that are above average. Some are okay. But for me, the second one, for me, it's the most forgettable. Even as boring as The Phantom Menace is, I don't remember shit from this movie. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
I know I've seen it multiple times, but there's just, I can't think of a scene, at least in The Phantom Menace, I like the Darth Maul scene. And like you said, but there's just some stuff, it's so bland. It's easily the most forgettable in my opinion.
Yeah.
And because it's so forgettable, I can't stand to watch it. As boring as The Phantom Menace is, I just can't stand Attack of the Clones.
So I will agree, it is the most forgettable. I don't think it's the worst one. I think it does a pretty good job world building. I think it expands the Jedi Order so much in it. You kind of get a view on Count Dooku's a former Jedi. And you don't learn a lot about the Sith through Darth Maul. And you kind of learn a decent amount about the Sith in this one. So I think that's solid. I think you get a good origin for the clone troopers who kind of become stormtroopers. Like that kind of makes sense there. You can kind of roll with that. There is some stuff that doesn't hold, like, he still tries to push the trade federation, and that's still the thing. And
that's what the kids want to know. That's what
they're
like, what?
I don't know.
I love the Anakin rescuing his mom scene. I think that's a good scene that shows a lot.
It's probably the best part.
Anakin. Yeah, when he just fucking,
you see his slight little turn.
Yeah, you start seeing him.
It's like a setup part for what's to come from him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm trying to think besides that. As a kid, I loved the arena scene, but now I agree.
It's hard to watch.
Gosh, the CGI in Phantom Menace is almost better because I think they went so full scale on Attack of the Clones. Like the scene in Coruscant where they're flying through the city, and it almost looks like a cartoon, like an anime cartoon. But I do think the dialogue is bad. The storyline gets a little better. The sand scene is. Can you watch that without cringing?
It's chaos.
Anakin's playing with sand in his fingers. Yeah. It's brutal.
It almost feels like, when we get to Revenge of the Sith, I won't give you my opinion on it yet, but it feels like Revenge of the Sith is one that he actually cared to tell.
Yeah.
He just probably felt like he had to do a trilogy to get to the story he wanted to tell, because it's like, well, the last one was a trilogy, so this has to be a trilogy too. And it felt like these two, The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, like, they just felt like carefree effort, no effort put into them, just placeholders just to get to the one he wanted to tell.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So next is the Clone Wars, the TV.
Do we have to talk about this one?
I don't. We did not. I just I felt like giving it credit.
It's in there.
We could talk about it.
The thing I take from it is I think it does a good job character building Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship. Is what I've taken.
Yeah, you could take that because, in the third one, it's like, oh, we're brothers. In the other two, we never got a sense of that at all. You just get one little line of, oh, I saved your life once. We're brothers.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps.
So, I can see the Clone Wars, building up to that, or at least catering to that, what the other two did not.
Yeah.
But it's lame. It's literally saving Jabba's son. That's like the thing, and it's literally the first 3 episodes of the show put into one movie. I think that's what they did.
Is that what it is?
It's literally like the first couple episodes that they edited into one movie.
That's weird.
It's fine, I guess, if you look at it in the TV regard, but the fact that they put it in as a movie,
it's a money grab.
Yeah.
Throw Star Wars on there, and
it's a lame story, but I will give you the relationship.
Yeah, I've tried so many times like binge the series, and I just can't. Like, I'll watch an episode here and there if I read something about like how it's really good. Like,
I don't even think I've seen the whole thing.
Back to it.
Yeah,
I definitely haven't seen the whole show, the whole series. I've watched a couple episodes like based around Yoda, and like one of the ones that has a callback to like Darth, the real old Sith.
Plagueis.
Plagueis. Yeah. So, that's really all I've watched.
I mean,
I think Baby Jabba farts a couple times. It's like the only thing I can remember. I think I could be wrong, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. So next is Revenge of the Sith, which I think genuinely is a great movie. It's a good sci-fi movie. It's a good Star Wars movie. Hayden Christensen does the best acting of his career, which is still subpar.
Yeah.
He does the only acting of his career, actually.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys can go ahead here.
I'm with you. I'll go ahead and just go first. I like it for the most part. It's not great. It's not bad. But I think the end is pretty good for the most part. The last, 45, 30 minutes are pretty enjoyable. The movie as a whole, it's just okay. It's better than the other two, which isn't saying much, but I think that it's considerably better than the other two. It's watchable for the most part. You said, acting is still whatever, but there's enough there, enough meat there, like towards the end, where I can kind of get on board with where he's going. It's not a great movie, I don't think. I think it's just good. It would be the highest that I could praise that I could give it, but it's definitely, like, if it's on TV, I would watch it. Like, if I had nothing, I wouldn't have no problem clicking on it and just watching it from wherever it starts until the end.
Yeah, like I said, I felt like this is the one he actually cared to tell. I'd say this is a pretty good one. This is the one I watched the most as a kid. Like, I didn't really watch a whole lot of the original trilogy when I was a kid. This was the one I watched the most. The best part this movie does is you really feel the downfall of everything. That, like, it actually has like an actual emotional impact. Like, I actually feel like, oh God, things are like getting really sour. You know, when Anakin starts to, you know, make his bad choices, killing younglings, where Ewan McGregor can't help but laugh. And then Order 66. When that stuff starts to happen, you actually, you start to feel, and you feel the dread of it all.
Yeah, there's a little more meat.
Yeah, there's more meat to it all. That's easily the best stuff to it all. And in the ending fight, while it's like, I don't really feel that brotherhood relationship, the score's great. And I mean, yeah, it's super choreographed, but I mean, it still looks kind of cool.
It looks nice, yeah. For the most
it looks sleek. So yeah, I would say this one's actually probably this is one I remember the most stuff from.
Max, I think you really hit the nail on the head there, because I think if he would have just made this one and been like, oh, I'll make a TV series recapping what happened before this, you know, and kind of just went into it, like, I really think this movie would be appreciated more and would be like viewed up with the original movies, but I just think, like, you know, this movie still didn't cross like the $1 billion mark and like all that, just because I think there was still bitter taste. And
everyone was just like, well, I guess we gotta finish it.
And I think people all went into it wanting to hate Hayden Christensen, wanting to hate where they take the story in General Grievous and everything. But gosh, I almost just wish there was a Clone Wars type series that just covered the first two, and like he just made this one first.
He didn't even try to do. I mean, I don't even understand why he even did a trilogy. He didn't even try to establish any relationship. If he just would have went straight to Revenge of the Sith, it would have been fine. I mean, if he didn't even need the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, because he didn't even try to establish any sort of relationship there between Obi-Wan and Anakin. He should have just gone straight into Revenge of the Sith, and I think this movie would have been remembered better. And I think a lot of people do like this one. I think this is the one that everyone goes, you know, it's definitely the best one.
It's better received for sure.
There's some
great people shit on it.
Some great memes from Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah.
Obi-Wan is a meme.
Hello there.
All right, so Revenge of the Sith, pretty good. I think we'll say it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Good for them. Do
you want to rank what we've got so far? Like Revenge of the Sith.
Oh my gosh.
You mess on the Google Doc?
What are we putting last here? So Revenge of the Sith is first.
I'll write it at the bottom too.
We can release a ranking. Second is
Phantom Menace.
It's got to be Phantom Menace for me.
I would say Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace, and then is it Attack of the Clones / Clone Wars? Are we
putting them on the same level?
Hang on.
Wait a minute. Clone Wars is last.
Let's put Clone Wars last. I would say Clone Wars is last. It doesn't really count.
The TV series would probably be above Attack of the Clones, but the movie we'll put last. So next is a very controversial one.
Here we go.
So, definitely.
Nolan, what you just watched for the first time?
So I want to hear what you thought.
Nolan. Okay. Your first take
so I'm actually, because all I had heard was just reactions, and a lot of it is negative, and some this one there wasn't too much middle ground for a lot of people that I talked to. They either really just I hated it, or some people really really liked it. I don't know anybody personally that loved it, but just what I've seen online. For me, I'm actually really surprised how negatively it's been received for the most part, because I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a super enjoyable time. It is definitely entertaining. The first 15 to 20 minutes I really like a lot. And I just don't see a lot of the complaints. I didn't think that, I'm blanking on the main dude's name, but I didn't think he was bad at all.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah, I thought he was completely, was
I
pretty
thought he was
charismatic
spot
for the
on.
most part. Yeah, he did a really good job in my
Mhm.
opinion. And there wasn't, and you could complain about the story, like it takes it, because some people were saying it's messy, like it goes all over the place. But for me, everything felt pretty smooth. I liked the end. There was not anything that stuck out like a sore thumb to me where I was like, that part really sucks. For the most part, I thought it was a really enjoyable ride, like start to finish. I had a lot of laughs. Like it felt really Star Wars-y to me for the most part. Like I just, it was fun. It was a lot more fun than I think people made it out to be. And it might be because I was expecting it to be so bad because everybody just was negatively receiving it. So when you go into something thinking like this is going to be horrible, and then it's surprisingly good, you like it a little bit more. But I'd watch it again. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a fun time.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Like you watch it and you're like,
I don't understand where
like,
people.
I could see how this person became the Han Solo we know.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of a fraud, kind of like false sense of confidence.
Yeah, it never leaned too much for me on fan service either, because it was there, but it didn't.
It was
feel
its own
like,
story.
Exactly. Yeah, it felt like its own thing, and it felt like everything was actually set up really well.
Yeah,
like it felt like a good origin to me. I liked it a lot.
I thought Donald Glover was great as Lando.
He's great. Yeah,
you can believe that was a young Lando.
Mm-hmm.
And something I really thought, like Woody Harrelson being Han's mentor, who ends up kind of betraying him, you can kind of see why Han is so cynical and kind of sticks to himself.
Yeah.
And for me, I agree. It was fun. It reminded me a little bit of a Marvel movie where it's just like
I could see that.
It never gets too deep. A couple twists, couple cameos. But
there were lots of twists. I mean, I thought it was. I'm not good at predicting movies, but like the end for the most part caught me off guard, and I wasn't like, oh my god moment, but it was just kind of like, oh, that was cool, and then it just kept going and going. There was not a single part where I felt like this sucks or I'm bored.
And I think it really grabbed the nostalgia of the original trilogy while still kind of expanding on Han's story.
It never felt like it was
a different way. Yeah. So
it definitely captured that's probably this movie's main plus, is that it captured the spirit of Han Solo and the excitement of the original trilogy. But this movie is really fucking ugly. It is like a horrible cinematography. Let me rephrase that. The cinematography is horrible in this movie. It is like murky, ugly, not good. And this movie went through production hell. So, I mean, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, because I feel like if Phil Lord and Chris Miller were still there, it wouldn't have looked like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be Guardians type.
Yeah, exactly. It probably would have been more colorful.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it has that spirit is what really saves it, because I feel like that was really going to be make or break of it all.
Mm-hmm.
L337 is like the worst character ever.
That was terrible.
That got to be a little too much.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he says something where he's like, "Can I get you anything?" And she's like, "Equal rights." I was sitting in the theater.
At least they didn't deviate from it. Like they made an annoying character and they stayed true to it the whole time.
Yeah, but I think I was clapping when she died in theaters. So
I was like, please God, tell me that this. It's not. There's no chance it's coming back.
Yeah.
I thought Glover did a pretty good job. I think people overhyped it way too much because, like, I mean, like Lando's cool, but he's not like. I think people got more excited about the casting rather than the actual like Lando's coming back. But yeah, it had a good spirit. It's a fun movie. I think we watched this Christmas Day because I got it for Christmas. We watched it Christmas Day, and my dad really liked this one. And I think it's one that's easy to watch for people that aren't really big Star Wars fans. Yeah, I think Luke, you're right. It really does have like that Marvel-esque kind of feel. I think that's what they wanted with their spin-off movies, that kind of feel to it. And I think this one's just an easy one to enjoy, for people that even aren't really big Star Wars fans. And I think it does a pretty good job of just being a fun, enjoyable movie. And I think that's all it really should have been able to set out for.
And I know we'll talk about this in a little bit too, but people have said a lot about their spin-off movies, but I will say, I think like what you said, Max, the thing they've done really well with the spinoffs is they're both very like very watchable for people who aren't familiar with Star Wars. Both films are. I know like my sisters watch Star Wars, but they haven't seen like the original ones or anything, and they both love Solo and Rogue One. So I think they're both kind of easy watches and like Marvel-esque watches for people who aren't familiar with Star Wars. But then again, I think like, I don't know, Alden got a lot of hate for his portrayal of Han, and I don't think he deserves that
I
at
don't
all.
see it.
I think he was really spot on as
the charisma's there.
Yeah,
that was the main thing that
it was great.
That he needed to do, and he nailed that.
Yeah, and his kind of cockiness and his false sense of, like, I can do anything.
Yeah, well, people were saying he wasn't delivering those lines well either. They were like, "Oh, he just." I thought he looked the part.
Yeah, I agree.
He looked like he was having fun. It looked like Han Solo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, how much more do you want him to do playing the younger version of like one of the most iconic actors of all time? Like, there's not much more you can do.
And you're copying at that point. Like, it's hard to do that. That's not an easy job.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when Phil Lord and Chris Miller still had control of the movie that they were comparing, or someone like leaked out from set or said that they were comparing his performance to Ace Ventura. Like, it was supposed to be super zany. And I think people heard that and were like, oh, shit, he's going to suck. So I think people, regardless, already had their minds made up about what he was going to be like in the film regardless. Like, I'm pretty sure they even gave him like acting lessons and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure like this movie went through like production hell, and the fact that it was as enjoyable as it was pretty surprising. And like, there's
I can believe it.
It dives into things that we don't really need to know, like are you with anybody? No, it's like that's like, no, we don't need to know that.
But other than that, I liked how him and Chewie met.
That was amazing. That was so good.
It was great. Just kind of how they formed their bond and how Han just kind of got in with smugglers. Like,
all the relationships are fantastic. Him and Lando, I loved all the banter. Him and Chewbacca, I loved every relationship.
I think it sets up really well for a trilogy type or a sequel.
I would see that's the thing with these movies. It's like the actual Skywalker movies. I feel like, you know, you expect a sequel, but are you necessarily really wanting another one? Like, but with this, I was like, you know what? I'd be interested to see what else they have to do. Like after The Force Awakens, I was like, well, it's nice to have Star Wars back. But I wasn't like, holy shit, what are they going to do in the next one? I can't wait to see it, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah, and like Darth Maul's got like a mafia-esque business going on in this, like a criminal organization.
Yeah, that was I didn't really
pretty
like
cool.
that.
Did you not?
That Darth Maul. I mean, I knew that it's canon that Darth Maul's back with robot legs, like in the Clone Wars show, or whatever. But it's like almost like it felt like they added in to make it feel like even more Star Warsy. Like, hey, remember this is in the Star Wars universe, and I feel like that probably was setting up if they were to do sequels, what they would have done. But
I think Boba Fett would have made a lot more sense in that role.
Yeah, that or Jabba. I know they both have that Jabba at the very end, but it's like now we know that that's never gonna happen. It's a shame, it's easily the best on the list that we have so far.
I agree.
I think so also.
So now Star Wars Rebels. I've watched a few episodes of this.
People love it.
Yeah, people love it. I read like story recaps because they take the story and like the canon in really cool places and better places than I think Clone Wars does. But it is very much a kid's show. Like, I've watched it and it's very childish in some ways and stuff. So I think I haven't really been able to get through more than a season at a time. But I think it's a good show. You know, like if I was a kid, I'm sure I'd enjoy it. But some of the storylines are pretty cool with Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan's in it for an episode or two.
Yeah, I went to that panel at Star Wars Celebration, and it was just full. I mean, there's so many people in there. And what I really appreciated, though, I haven't seen the show. It looks like the people that I forget his name. It looks like the people that make that show actually like really care. Like they put a lot of effort into what they do with it. So I appreciated that. So I'm sure it's a good show. But I've never seen any of it.
Nolan, anything to add there?
I haven't seen it either, but like Max, I mean, obviously everybody, it has good ratings and everything that I've seen for it is good, but I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah. So the next one, which I think is a amazing film, and it sometimes kind of works its way into my favorite Star Wars movie, is Rogue One, which I really think is the perfect blend of creating new characters, creating a new story, while I think Rogue One, sequel-wise, comes the closest to like matching the nostalgia of the original trilogy out of all of them.
I know Gareth Edwards is like a super huge Star Wars fan. And I don't remember a whole lot about how production went. Like, I know they did a bunch of reshoots, and I think they had
brought in
Tony Gilroy
to refilm a little bit.
To do the Darth Vader scene. For what it is, I mean, it's dark, and I think it's as good as a dark Star Wars movie can be to me. Because, like, all of the Star Wars movies, they're pretty lighthearted, except for maybe Revenge of the Sith. That's got the the dark turn through Anakin. That's probably as dark as it got before Rogue One. But for a dark Star Wars film, like a more adult orientated one, rather than probably for kids, I think it's as good as it really can be. It's a good movie.
It's a war film. I think like it really covers being like a battle/war film.
I've seen it one time. We watched it when we were in theaters. That's the only time that I've seen it.
Really?
And I still think it's just okay. I don't particularly like it. It's on Netflix, and I've never gone back and watched it again. I think it's just fine. It's like Max said, it's about, for a dark Star Wars movie, I like how you said it's about as good as it can be. I still think it's just fine. There's nothing super memorable there for me besides like the Darth Vader scene, obviously. But
Donnie Yen I thought was awesome.
Yeah, he's good. The problem for this one for me is it doesn't really need to be there for me. If it is there, they did the best they could, whatever. But I don't see the need for this one, really. Because it's really only there to solve one problem that people complained about, and that was really it, with like the plans to the Death Star or whatever. I think that was the thing that everybody complained about. But I just don't. I don't know. I don't see the need for it. I just don't particularly like it. I think it's fine.
I think it did a pretty good job of like expanding on certain things. Now, did it necessarily have to be done? Probably not. But like okay, how did she get the plans for the Death Star? I think it did a bit of a cop out where they put in the little loophole in the plans to the Death Star that the father put in, like a little I forget how he puts it. It's like
the reactor in the
reactor, he puts a little hole for the blast. He's like, just shoot here and it'll blow up. I think they did a good job of even just doing that. But I mean, is the movie necessary? You could probably not have it. You're right, Nolan. You could probably not have it. But I mean, for a movie that probably maybe even really shouldn't exist, I thought it was good. Like, it's not like...
I mean, it's just fine. Like, I just can't get any better than fine. I just think it's okay at best.
I mean, I think you could argue with like any movie not being necessary besides the original one. So that's why I think like I don't really try to think about that. For me, it was I thought it was pretty enjoyable. It is a dark movie. There's not as much humor, but
it needed more dread.
And the fight scenes are cool. And it is tough, I think, making an entire movie without a Jedi. And I think Solo struggled too. I know they have Darth Vader, but that's, a little different. That's him just absolutely massacring like people. I mean, I thought it was a very good movie. I wouldn't call it perfect by any means, but I thought it was really good. I thought it had a good villain. Ben Mendelsohn's always great.
He is.
Director Krennic was a good villain. And I think it tied in the prequels to the original trilogy pretty well in some aspects. So, that's how I feel. So,
on the list, where would you guys put it?
I'd say it's my favorite so far.
Because for me, it's below. It's probably, for me, it might be. I'd have to watch them both again, but for me, it might be below Revenge of the Sith.
I think on my Letterboxd I have Solo above Rogue One, But
I definitely think Solo's better.
See, I could see it going back and forth for me. I wouldn't have a specific place for it. I think it's the better looking movie, better put together, but it's almost like the movie really wasn't even trying to go for that Star Wars feel as much as Solo was. So it's kind of a tough one to place above. I'd honestly, this seems like a bit of a cop out. I'd put them literally probably on the same level.
We can do that if you want.
I mean, I could see it. Yeah, I just I particularly don't like it, but yeah, like you said, it just doesn't feel like Star Wars.
Yeah. So, A New Hope, the original one.
The best.
Max, go ahead.
It's the most fun movie ever made. This is like a movie I will show to my kids and have their imagination sparked forever. This is like, it is the most okay. Look, that is the George Lucas special edition version. You know, does it ruin the fun? Not really. But there are scenes where it's like there are things like in the way of what's going on, like this special whatever.
Yeah,
like
the
creatures he has. It's like get out of the way. I'm trying to watch the movie. I'm sure I'll probably even love. I've never seen it without the special edition. I'm sure I'd love it more. But this movie, it's exciting. The effects hold up so well for when it was made. I mean, they look amazing. It's just classic. It has great performances. Now, are they like, oh, this is an Academy Award-winning performance? For the characters they play, they're amazing. Everything about this movie works. And when it works so well. It is just so exciting.
Yep. I'm with you on that. It kind of almost, it feels like we were talking about with Solo, where it's kind of Marvel before Marvel became Marvel. Like it's the Marvel for Star Wars. It was the thing that set it all off. It was just, and I like what you said. It's the most fun easily. And it's such an enjoyable ride. I could start it in any point in the movie and watch it till the very end and not be bored for a single second. The performances are great. Like you said, for who they're playing, it's a lot of fun. Just great universe that was built. It's just great all around for me.
I wish I could be 10 years old when it came out, because like I just can't imagine, like there had never been like a sci-fi film that's also also has a great villain that has these like crazy things called lightsabers and Jedi, stuff like that, and it's just like
the world is nuts.
Yeah, and the fact that, because you guys know the story about how George Lucas thought it was gonna be like absolutely awful.
Yeah,
like, the guy just can't judge films, I don't think.
These three will be great.
If it came out today, it would have bombed. I feel like.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have all these movies today that try and build their own universes, but nobody wants to go see them because
that's
they're not
the thing.
familiar.
Yeah, it was so iconic for the time.
Exactly. It just came out at the perfect time.
Classic is the perfect word.
Yeah, and that is a conversation for another time about franchises nowadays, because it's brutal to see.
I do want to talk about that.
You have like movies like Alita and stuff like that who could be great franchises, but people don't care. Anymore, which really sucks because we could be missing out on some stuff. But
for sure,
we'll talk about it. So the next one is my personal favorite, and I know a lot of people's favorite, is Empire Strikes Back, which I just love because I think it's nonstop action. It world builds so well into the rebellion and like the Empire as a whole. We're introduced to the Emperor, this kind of like big bad, and you get fun characters like Lando in it, stuff like that. And I just feel like from the jump and the Battle of Hoth, like you think like there's a major battle within the first 30 minutes of that movie.
It's definitely the perfect second movie to A New Hope, where like A New Hope is just, it is fun, and The Empire Strikes Back is almost a different kind of fun. Like there's so much action happening, there's so many great scenes, and I think that it's the perfect second movie for A New Hope. I flip-flop on both of them a lot. I think if I was to rank them now, I'd probably like A New Hope more.
See, I would compare like A New Hope, the transition from A New Hope to Empire Strikes Back to Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where, the second one really, helps with the characters and their understanding and, deepening them, beefing them up. What I like so much about Volume 2, though, is that it doesn't really lead you in too much of the third, whereas an Empire literally is like the last 20 minutes is literally just to set up into what's going to happen next. It's a great sequel for what it is. Everything that it's in it works. I just wish it kept like the same kind of attitude that the first New Hope had, whereas like Volume 2 still had that lightheartedness that the first one had, and then Empire kind of loses that kind of fun and excitement. That's why I love the New Hope so much. Is like I just love the fun adventure they go on, and this one it takes like a super dark turn, and it's good for what it is, but it just isn't what I enjoyed so much from the first one. It's like totally different, and it's good for what it is, but I just prefer the lighthearted Star Wars.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I could see where you come from with that. It all does just depend on the kind of person, I think, too.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take away from this movie at all. I'd probably, like, as much as A New Hope is my favorite, I'd probably put Empire Strikes Back on as number one, because I mean what it did with the twist in the end. I mean, it just literally it changes everything.
The thing that I think, I mean, the lightsaber scene in Empire Strikes Back is so fun, but in A New Hope, the lightsaber scene for me is always like, oh my god,
it's just two old people.
It always like I can never look past that. The next one, so this one was one of my favorites as a kid, and I now think this is one of the worst Star Wars movies, is Return of the Jedi, which in my opinion I would probably put lower than Revenge of the Sith, because it's just one of those movies I've recently rewatched, and I'm like, gosh, this movie just, you can tell Harrison Ford wanted Han dead. Harrison Ford did not want to be in it. He didn't want to play Han. Mark Hamill, it seemed like, just wasn't really into his character.
Really?
I just, watching it, I just get that vibe that they were all kind of just done with the characters. I think the storyline is a little iffy with the Ewoks.
The Ewok stuff isn't.
It's just very dumb, and that's just classic George Lucas, like wanting to sell toys. There's a lot of potential in it, and I think there's a lot of good scenes in it. And it was always my favorite as a kid, because like Luke had the green lightsaber, and it was a very different type of sequel. And the beginning scene at Jabba's is cool. But I do think it kind of loses its steam as it goes on.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think what really saves this movie is what I would say was what they do with Luke, and with that, with the confronting of his father. I think everything they did with that was just excellent. Like, it makes me cry every time when Luke snaps at his father, because all he's just trying to do is just change his mind. Like, hey, I don't want to fight you. Like, we can get through this. And his dad's just like constantly like, no, fight me. Ooh, you're going to turn to my side. That gets me emotional every time. The score is so good. I just think everything they did with Luke, he's finally a Jedi. He's nailed it. He's got it down. And then he's trying to, get his father to come to his senses. The George Lucas special edition where he picks up the Emperor and says no, it's just terrible. George Lucas, even then, without the special edition, you can tell his influence is there. And then he just takes it even further with the special edition. I would say Return of the Jedi is probably of the original trilogy is the one I watched the least, but it has my favorite scene of all.
Which is the final scene.
Yeah, with Luke and Darth Vader. I think it's just so powerful. Like, because it's just really what everything's leading up to, and it
shows a lot about Luke. Yeah.
I'm with you on that. For me, it's the one that I remember the least about, honestly, too, out of the original trilogy. Obviously the end is great, and that's the thing that I remember the most. But the rest of the movie, I honestly, sitting right here, I probably couldn't even tell you what happens. Honestly,
Han Solo stands by a door. The whole time.
It's one of the
ones all he wanted to do.
It's one of the ones that I least remember. I still think it's good from what the little things that I do, but I mean, it's easily the worst of the original three for sure.
Yeah.
Good ending though. Like it wraps everything up so well, but the rest of the movie is just It's like we're inching towards this finale that is so great, but we just
And
gotta get there first.
I'll always love the scene at the end where Luke looks over and sees the Force ghosts and like
Yeah.
kind of resolved.
It almost has that melancholy kind of feel. Like it doesn't really feel like a happy note ending. Like it really kind of just feels sad. And then
like they're kind of like almost
and ruins the whole movie.
It's like, now what?
just seeing him ruins the entire thing.
Fuck, I forgot he's here.
He exists.
Yeah. So it's definitely the worst original. But
I just don't think it's very well made. That's probably my biggest issue with it. Like the quality is way down. Compared to the other two.
Empire Strikes Back. It takes place 3 years later, and there were some major advances in CGI and technology, and it just
it's like the very beginning of the 80s too.
So, but George.
George, he'll find a way.
That special edition stuff's so weird because you never see that with like
why did
a movie that someone else is
I don't know.
Like a movie someone else has directed, and he just kind of comes in and picks and chooses.
Yeah.
Like,
And I just can't believe he thinks what he adds makes it better. That's what blows me away.
Like let's put a CGI cow right here, and then it's weird.
He's like, I can add another toy here, and it will sell.
Because he does think that it's better for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he just keeps inputting over and over.
Yeah.
Where would you put it on the list?
For me, I'd say it's either right above or right below Revenge of the Sith.
That's hard.
Solo and Rogue One, A New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back.
I would put it above Solo and Rogue One only because I just think the main storyline of Luke and Vader, I think that was handled really well.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably where I put it. I put it as 3.
It's got the best scene from because it's definitely like right around. Those 3 are so hard because they're all kind of like stuck right there for me. If it's kind of hard to say because I'd almost rather rewatch Solo, but I've seen that so recently and I haven't seen Return of the Jedi in so long. That's not really fair. Like just if it was me just sitting here right now, I'd say I like Solo better. But I haven't seen it.
The Ewoks just kill it for me. It seems so dumb.
Yeah, the Ewoks they're dumb.
It's not like so the next one, the first of the sequel trilogy, The Force Awakens, which I get is very similar to A New Hope, but I think it's just such an enjoyable movie.
It's
really.
I don't care.
Really well. Kylo Ren is so cool, but so like such a bitch at the same time. And I do think part of that, they make him a little whiny, and I do think part of that was intentional, just because Luke was whiny and Anakin was whiny. When they were starting off, and Kylo's kind of at that age. Rey's a great protagonist. Poe.
I agree.
Finn is like awesome. Han Solo. They killed Han at the end, which I hated seeing them do, but it was a great narrative.
That's what Harrison Ford wanted. He said, "You kill me, and you make sure I never come back."
Yeah,
it was so good because it hit in the feels.
And besides the whole retreading of A New Hope, I don't know if I can really think of one negative thing. I don't know if I can think of one negative thing about this movie.
Really? Okay, so I would say it was my negative would be it's too safe, which I guess honestly maybe in retrospect is probably the best way to go about it, just to kind of get that Star Wars.
You can't leave a bad taste in their mouth like how it was.
Yeah, exactly.
So you kind of have to.
It's very well made. All the performances are good. There's a certain woman in this movie that stole my heart, to say the least. I think all the performances are fun. Everybody acts like they want to be there. That's probably the most refreshing part of all of it, because it feels like in the in the prequel trilogy, nobody acts like they care. They're just there saying lines. Everybody wants to be here. Especially you see that the most through John Boyega. You can tell he's like, holy shit, I'm in Star Wars literally the whole time.
Yeah.
It's funny. It like I said, it probably loses points for originality from me, but it is so well made. The score is good. It has that Star Wars feel. It's just a good time. Like when I've seen the movie 9 times now, and it really never gets old for me. And it's the same as it is for A New Hope. Like I feel like I could just watch A New Hope whenever, because it's just got that super fun, enjoyable feel, and it captured that spirit perfectly. And I think that's the best it could have done.
I'm with you. I think it is the super, super fun, and the performances are all great, and it looks great. Like you said, it's well made. And it's one of those things too, like who wouldn't want to be in a Star Wars movie after so long? Who wouldn't want to see one like after so long? And so maybe playing it safe is the best option. This was like the most hyped movie ever. Yeah, but and maybe you don't want to fuck that up. And like you said, everybody looks like they're just having a blast. Like they look like, oh, we're making Star Wars again. Like this is happening. Like we're all doing it, and everybody is awesome. It's a super, super fun ride. It was one of my favorites when I've seen it a lot of times since then. But when I first saw it, I loved it. And I thought that it was
definitely an experience seeing it.
Oh, and just the day, it was one of the best days of my life. And
I agree.
Max was there. Like, it was so much back before there were reserved seats, so we had to get there early to get in the middle. Like we spent however many hours out in the cold. Like just the whole experience behind it was so much fun. And I don't think I've ever had a movie experience like that, where just the pregame movie and then the movie itself, and then
the audience in the theaters was great.
It was insane. It was amazing. It was such a fun environment to be in.
That's what Star Wars Celebration is like. Literally what you guys just said. That is Star Wars Celebration.
Really?
But that's why I loved it so much. Is it's a movie. We're sitting outside of a freaking AMC in -3-degree weather. Then you get to walk out of a movie that was genuinely good.
So cold.
Oh, it was amazing. We were like ordering pizza to the parking lot. We had people that we knew coming by and saying hi. Like it was one of the best days ever. It was so much fun, and the movie did not disappoint at all. It made a fun day so much better.
For me, I'd say it is right after A New Hope in the rankings here. Yeah,
I'd agree.
Before Solo.
That's what I.
So next is the very controversial, and I think we all kind of appreciate it, is The Last Jedi.
I wish we had someone on here that disagreed with us. Because I know a bunch of people that disagree with me on it. Like I know, Brandon and Dolan. We were gonna do a movie commentary where they hate it and I love it, and we literally just go back and forth the whole time. I wish there was someone on here that would kind of rant about it, but I loved this movie from the end credits. Like I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted them to take risks. Like, okay, they got their Force Awakens out of the way, getting that Star Wars feel back. Now where are you taking the story? What are you going to do with it? And they did exactly what I wanted, where they went something totally new. And I think maybe my favorite part of it all was like, I had no idea what they were going to do with it. When it gets to maybe the last 30 minutes or so, when they kill Snoke.
I didn't know either.
When they kill Snoke, it's like, damn, what are they going to do? Shit, like, I was actually interested to see where this movie was going to go. And it left me in a spot where it's like, okay, it feels like the end of it all, but at this point, like, it's not like I'm craving another, like I said earlier, like, these new ones don't have me, like, craving, like, a new one. But I was like, damn, what are they going to do in the next one? Like, it had me kind of curious rather than, like, not like cliffhanger-ish like Infinity War, where it's like I need to know what's going to happen next. But it's like it leaves it in an interesting spot, as all sequel of a trilogy movies should do.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right about them like taking chances and stuff. I definitely agree with that. And like it's the first Star Wars movie where you can't really predict it. Like I think Force Awakens, it's pretty obvious Han was going to die. Like you're watching the whole time and you're like, this seems like a farewell to Han. But I mean, 5 minutes into The Last Jedi, I had like, after he destroys the Dreadnought, I'm like, what's going to happen here? I have absolutely no idea. I love the way, I know people hated it. I love the way Luke reacted, because like, why wouldn't he be cynical of the Jedi? Why wouldn't
he? I know. Why? Because people wanted them to go, oh, well, you found me. Hide and seek, you got me.
I'm going to come save everybody.
Why do you think he was hiding?
There's a great line where he's like, would you expect me to take a lightsaber and wipe out all the First Order? Like, it's like, he's kind of right. Like, that's what
is.
everybody wanted, but it's like, that makes no sense. He wouldn't do that.
And it's something like, it's the Force is this like religion who like, convoluted his dad and then kind of took away everything he had. And like, he's seen so many bad experiences with it. Why would he be like this? And then with his nephew, like it kind of gave him this false sense of like,
it's like
paranoia.
that PTSD.
Yeah. And it's like, why would he not resent the Force and be like, oh, I'm just using this all the time and I'm going to rebuild the Jedi? Like,
he seems very done with it, like a crippled old man. But that's good, because that's exactly how you would react. If you were hiding away for however many years and somebody came up to you and was like, hey, come with me and go slaughter all these people. Like, if you're I'd be fucking shit. Get the hell off my island.
It's interesting. You have your main. What if your main hero, your savior, just gave up all hope? What would that be like? They would leave you like, what the hell are we gonna do?
And I think the Kylo, Rey, and Snoke's throne room is an underrated pick. Like
that scene is amazing. I rewatch it all the time.
So good. The cinematography in it, the colors in
the
it,
whole
the acting,
movie,
the way that it moves, the camera, it's so great.
It's choreographed, but it's like not choreographed. Like it's not choreographed like the prequels. It's a lot of natural. When she throws him the lightsaber and he just ignites it straight through the dude's head.
The scene feels very clean. But it doesn't feel so rehearsed, but it just feels like everything is so clean and it just flows so well.
For me too, this was almost like, I felt like it was the most emotional Star Wars movie where I'm like,
it felt like it.
Crying. Yeah, because like when Luke hugs Leia and is like, no one's ever really gone. And when, he hands her Han's dice. And then when he kind of has that, it almost seems like a Han callback when he winks to Kylo. And he's like, I'll see you around.
That scene, I get chills every time I watch the scene where he's on what's the island? Octu, yeah. When he's on Octu the whole time, I literally had chills.
It's so cool when
I was like,
it's great.
So cool.
Because you're like, we've been hearing for so long that Luke's like the chosen one, and we've never really seen him fully unleash. And you're like, Jesus, this dude's a fucking badass.
He still got it.
Dude, that was awesome. And the comedy landed really well in it. Like when
I thought so,
what Kylo throws Snoke like against the back of the thing, and the guy's like, okay, we'll get it right away. Like their kind of relationship there where they like hate each other is hilarious. And Kylo losing his mind trying to kill Luke because he just hates him so much.
But it's such a good scene.
Funny.
It's so awesome.
It is. It's so
and then
good.
you have Benicio del Toro.
Dude, I always forget about that.
You always say that.
I quote that line all the time.
What's the line?
It's some stupid.
It's Rose and John. Rose and Finn are like, we got to get to. I can't tell if they're talking about escaping or just getting to take out the ship or whatever. And he goes, "We need somebody. We need to go get that guy." And then Benicio goes, "I can do it." It's just the way he says it.
Benicio del Toro, I love that man, and I guarantee
he's great.
Yeah, I guarantee the actor like didn't originally have like a lisp or whatever.
Probably not.
No way.
I'm curious to see if he'll be in the new one, because I haven't really heard anything.
I don't know what the hell they did with him.
Cast,
because he disappears from the movie. Like he's on the ship and then
just kind of goes, but definitely an interesting character. Rose was bad, but didn't ruin the movie for me. So many people, like, I think it like straight up ruined the movie for them.
I wouldn't say she was bad.
It just felt very
Disney
that
far.
to me.
No, that's what I was.
She had one bad scene. I think honestly, like the Finn sacrificing himself, like that was like actually pretty deep. Like
for him Finn's arc would have been like completed.
Yeah, instead of running away, he'll be the one to put himself at the forefront to sacrifice himself. And then Rose kind of ruined that. That was probably her worst scene, but I don't think like she was bad at all. I don't think
I hated the casino scene. Where
I was gonna say I really didn't care for all of the casino stuff that was going on. And then the horses thing was not.
Yeah, so I think the first time I saw that, I was like, okay, I don't want to see this. I want to go straight to Luke. But I think most people saw it once and was like, this sucks. But like the more you see it, the more it like kind of flies by. It really doesn't bother me that much. Is it the weakest stuff in the movie? Yeah, it's because it's like you have a new character, and then Finn, like, who's not as exciting as like Rey and Luke and all the other, side.
It's kind of like, what do you do with them? Like, that's kind of what the scene felt like.
Exactly.
Here we go. Let's just throw them over here, and then we'll get through that real quick. Yeah. Oh, now they're back, and we're good. We can do the movie.
It felt very much like a prequel place, like with all the characters really they had going on.
Yeah. I kind of like that in a sense, though.
It feels like it fits in.
Yeah. And I do like the casino thing's annoying and all, but they're all kind of going for like the common mission there. They're all kind of working together in different places. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would put Last Jedi above Force Awakens, in my opinion. I'd put it.
I would too, easily. Yeah. No question.
Just because you're right.
That would be an interesting. Yeah, I don't know. They would be really close for me, and I'd have to watch them both back to back. Right now, I would probably say I like the Force Awakens more. It's just more fun to me. But I would have to rewatch The Last Jedi again because I haven't seen it in a little bit.
Yeah, it very much is like A New Hope is like very much a rewatchable movie, and then Empire is really not. I wouldn't say it's not much of a rewatchable movie. It's
I feel like it's the same
movie,
thing. Yeah,
and you could say the same thing about Force Awakens. And
I agree 100%.
I think I saw Force Awakens like 12 times in theaters.
Oh,
and
so many times.
I saw Last Jedi like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
I saw
nearly as much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see how Rise of Skywalker will be on that type of thing. I think it'll definitely be nostalgia filled.
We shall see.
Last of Jedi. I just typed Last of Jedi.
So that wraps it up. Next week's going to be huge. Because
holy fuck.
We're not going to make it.
We're here.
I say we wait until maybe like next Thursday to do an episode, just because we can talk spoilers maybe then and kind of give people a week to see it. And then kind of record.
So wait, we'll talk about it next
Thursday. Yeah, like a week from us seeing it. I say because that's a fair timetable for spoilers, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, give it about a week. Yeah.
Because I'm probably gonna want to spill some beans.
That's what I'm saying too. I'm not gonna be able to talk about it without.
You can't talk about it vaguely.
I almost want to make it an exclusive for the show. I won't tell anybody how I feel about the movie until I'll say you can wait until my podcast.
Literally don't talk to anyone.
I will say I'm not going to say a word. I'm not even going to give it a letterbox review. I'm going to say you watch our show and then you find out.
Even though we all already love it.
Okay. Here's how you'll find out if I liked it or not. If I didn't like it, I will be in a casket. I will have died. I will have killed myself. If I liked it, I will still be here. That's how you'll know if I at least liked it or didn't like it or not. So you get that.
Or you're going to like it so much you just end up like lighting yourself on fire and killing yourself. Just because there's no reason to live anymore.
The credits roll and I'm just in my seat with a smile on my face. I went to cardiac arrest.
Max just pulls like a bottle of bleach out of like from under his seat. He's like, all right, guys.
Well, life ain't getting better than this.
End on the high note.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so that's it.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.